Hello everyone, today we will play a little bit with MCP. We'll be running a local server, use Cursor AI as our client to connect to it, review the code that makes this possible, and finally create a simple LangGraph application to connect to the server as an MCP client. First, let's review the graph. This is a very simple graph. Pretty much our MCP server will be implementing three tools: web search tool, which will be using Tably API, roll dice, which will be using a local script, and get news tool, which will be using webs.io API. So let's take a look at the script for the dice roller. Pretty much this is a simple script that grabs some information, some input from us. We will enter the dice notation, and then we will tell it how many times we want it to roll and to keep whatever the lowest or the highest that we want, right? Now here we have the WebZio script, which pretty much calls the WebZio API. We enter the token, which is saved in the env file. Enter the query, the sentiment, which will be neutral, but it could be negative and positive, and the language, which in this case the default is English. Once you get all that info, it will grab the news that we want. And now we have the server PY, which will connect everything together. We'll have the web search tool, which is the Tably API, the roll dice tool, which is the function for the roll dice, and finally the get news tool, which is the API for WebZio. As you can see, these are normal functions, but they all have the wrapper for MCP tool decorator, which is what makes the magic. How do we connect this to our Cursor AI? So we actually just have to create a new MCP server, and we will give it some values here. We're gonna tell it, hey, run it with UV, and you can reach the server PY under this directory. Pretty much that's it. That's all you have to do. So now let's see how it actually looks. And first of all, we're gonna load the chat. We're gonna ask a normal question to trigger the dice. Roll to the dice for me. Keep the lowest. We're gonna let the MCP do its magic and wait for the response. Okay, I will load this for you. I'm gonna use roll dice. Now let's ask, please give me the latest news for Bitcoin. Now let's wait for it to finish. Does the analysis and looks for get news, which is our WebZio. So you can see it's using sentiment neutral and language English, and it brings all the top 5 news because that's how I had it set up. Now finally, let's take a look at how it looks on LangGraph. But this is the graph of how it will actually work. It will be the same thing we had before. We're just now gonna use we're gonna put the LangGraph MCP client on top of it, pretty much. So now let's run the query. This is the script. In the meantime, let me show you how the script looks like. It's pretty much it connects to the server using SDO client. It loads the tools, and it asks the questions and pretty much it invokes the question on all of those and returns the answer. So now let's see it in action. As you can see, it first looks for news about artificial intelligence. It gives me the top 5. Then it rolls a dice for me. It gives me the answer, and then finally it looks on the internet for Langshine MCP adapter. So in conclusion, we can create our own set of tools, or we can just connect with external APIs. And that brings me to this question. What is the difference between an API and an MCP? So an API is a direct interface where we can call functions and get responses back, while an MCP is a standardized way for agents to discover these tools and use them. Instead of hard coding them tool, the MCP will automatically look for the actual tool depending on what we are asking for. So a simple way to put it is API is like calling a restaurant directly, while an MCP is like having a waiter that knows all the restaurants in town and can order from any of them for us. This is all I have for you today. Thank you very much for paying attention.